God is about to expose a secret enemy in your life. Don't ignore this sign. Beloved child of God, be very still now. Slow your breath. Quiet your thoughts. For I, Archangel Michael, speak with urgency and truth. A person who stands close, yet works silently against your rise. This is not imagination. This is not fear. This is not paranoia. This is discernment awakening. God is about to expose a secret enemy in your life, and the exposure will not come loudly at first. It will come through signs, subtle shifts, small contradictions, moments that don't align, words that suddenly feel empty, energy that feels heavy when it once felt safe. And hear me clearly, do not ignore this sign. Because the enemy I speak of is not always the one who attacks openly. The most dangerous enemy is the one who stays close long enough to study you, long enough to envy you, long enough to interfere quietly while pretending to care. You have felt it already, haven't you? That sudden discomfort around someone familiar. That inner pause when they speak. That heaviness after certain conversations. That feeling that something is off, but you couldn't explain why. Beloved, that is the Holy Spirit whispering, pay attention. This enemy was allowed proximity not because you were foolish, but because your heart is pure. Your spirit is generous. You believe the best in people. And for a season, God allowed this closeness, not to harm you, but to reveal truth at the appointed time. And now, that time has arrived. The mask is slipping. The contradictions are increasing. The cracks are forming. You may notice they celebrate you in public but question you in private. They listen closely, but act differently later. They ask many questions about your plans, your blessings, your progress, yet offer little encouragement. They appear supportive, but subtly plant doubt. This is not coincidence. The enemy is uncomfortable because your elevation is near. Your growth is accelerating. Your spiritual authority is expanding. And what cannot rise with you, will attempt to restrain you. But hear this and let it settle deep in your spirit. No weapon formed against you will prosper, especially the hidden one. God does not expose to shame. God exposes to protect. This revelation is not to make you bitter, it is to make you free. Do not confront yet. Do not accuse yet. Do not react emotionally. Watch. Pray. Discern. Heaven is peeling back layers so you can see clearly. The enemy will expose themselves through inconsistency, jealousy, delayed support, subtle sabotage, or sudden withdrawal when you succeed. And here is the sign you must not ignore. They will be uncomfortable with your obedience to God. When you choose righteousness, alignment, boundaries, or growth, something in them resists. They may joke. They may discourage. They may minimize. They may redirect. But their spirit will not celebrate your obedience. That is the sign. Beloved, you are not losing anyone, you are outgrowing deception. You are not being betrayed, you are being protected. You are not being attacked, you are being revealed to. And this exposure will not delay your destiny. It will accelerate it. Something is being removed so something greater can arrive. Stay alert now. Stay prayerful. Stay calm. Because the next message will reveal how this enemy operates, why they were allowed close, and the exact moment God steps in to separate you. Without chaos, without confrontation, and without guilt. If your spirit feels stirred, remain connected. Like, subscribe, stay aligned, not for noise, but for timing. What comes next will explain why this exposure is happening now, and what you must do before it's too late. Beloved, remain attentive, because what I reveal now goes deeper than behavior. It reaches into spiritual motive. I, Archangel Michael, speak again, not to alarm you, but to arm you with truth. The enemy God is exposing is not random. They were not near you by accident. Their presence was permitted for a reason, and now that reason has been fulfilled. Hear this clearly: every hidden enemy studies before they strike. They observe your weaknesses. They measure your patience. They watch how you respond under pressure. They listen to your prayers disguised as conversations. They did not come into your life to celebrate you. They came to understand you. And once they understood, they began to interfere quietly. But listen, this enemy is not stronger than you. They are afraid of you. Why else would they hide? They hide because your calling threatens their comfort. Your growth exposes their stagnation. Your obedience convicts their compromise. And your light, yes, your light, reveals what they work so hard to conceal within themselves. This is why God is exposing them now. Because secrecy can only survive in darkness, and you are walking into a season of illumination. Beloved, the way this enemy operates is subtle. They do not always curse you. They confuse you. They do not always block you, they delay you. They do not always attack you, they distract you. They are skilled at appearing helpful while draining you spiritually. Pay attention to this sign. After spending time with them, you feel tired instead of uplifted. After sharing good news, you feel smaller instead of celebrated. After opening your heart, you feel exposed instead of supported. That is not normal. That is not love. That is not alignment. This enemy thrives on proximity without accountability. They want access, not responsibility. They want information, not intimacy. They want to be close enough to influence, but far enough to avoid being seen. And here is the truth that will shake them: God sees everything. Nothing whispered behind your back went unheard. Nothing plotted quietly went unnoticed. Nothing delayed intentionally escaped heaven's record. The reason the exposure is happening now is because your next level requires separation. The door God is opening cannot be walked through with hidden opposition attached to you. You are about to move faster, higher, and deeper, and anything that cannot follow in purity must be removed in truth. Do not panic when you notice the shift. Do not grieve when the distance forms. Do not chase clarity from someone God is already revealing. Silence will become your protection. Discernment will become your language. Peace will become your confirmation. This enemy will begin to reveal themselves unintentionally. Their frustration will increase. Their tone will change. Their support will fade. Their mask will slip. And when it does, resist the urge to confront. God is not asking you to fight, He is asking you to observe. Because exposure does not always look like scandal. Sometimes it looks like disconnection. Sometimes it looks like misalignment. Sometimes it looks like God removing your desire to stay close. That sudden lack of interest, that is protection. That unexplained distance, that is deliverance. That quiet exit, that is God answering prayers you forgot you prayed. Beloved, you are not imagining this. Your spirit is sharpening. Your discernment is maturing. You are seeing with spiritual eyes now. And what once felt normal no longer fits because your soul has outgrown compromise. Here is a sacred truth. When God exposes an enemy, He also restores your power. You will stop explaining yourself. You will stop seeking validation. You will stop shrinking to maintain peace. And the enemy will feel it. They will feel your silence. They will feel your boundaries. They will feel your absence. Because the influence they once had is ending. Now listen closely, because this is critical. Do not reveal what God has shown you prematurely. Do not announce the exposure. Do not seek agreement from others. Let God finish the work. The separation will be clean. The truth will be undeniable. And you will walk away with your integrity intact. Something is about to happen, an event, a conversation, a moment, that will make everything clear. You will see their intentions without guessing. You will understand without doubting. And when it happens, you will know, this is what Archangel Michael warned me about. Stay alert. Stay prayerful. Stay calm. Because the next message will reveal the exact trigger that causes the enemy to expose themselves, what they do when they realize they've been discovered, and how God shields you during the separation. Remain connected. Like, subscribe, stay aligned, not out of habit, but out of timing. What comes next will show you how close you are to breakthrough, and why this exposure cannot be delayed any longer. Beloved, stay with me, because now we move into the most critical revelation. What I speak next is the trigger, the exact moment when the hidden enemy can no longer remain hidden. I, Archangel Michael, declare this plainly: the exposure begins the moment you stop shrinking. Yes. Not when you assume. Not when you accuse. But when you quietly step into alignment. There is a shift happening inside you. You are no longer desperate for approval. You are no longer over-explaining your choices. You are no longer asking permission to obey God. And the enemy, who relied on your silence, your patience, your benefit of the doubt, feels the change immediately. This is when they slip. Because a hidden enemy thrives when you doubt yourself. They gain ground when you question your discernment. They remain concealed when you ignore your discomfort. But the moment you choose clarity over comfort, the mask begins to crack. Here is how the exposure is triggered. You set a boundary without anger. You say no without guilt. You choose obedience over approval. You move forward without consulting them. And suddenly, their behavior changes. They may become defensive. They may become distant. They may become overly sweet, or subtly hostile. They may question your motives, your faith, your timing. They may attempt to reinsert control disguised as concern. This reaction is not about you. It is about losing influence. Understand this, beloved, the enemy is not angry because you did something wrong. They are angry because you are no longer accessible in the same way. They feel the door closing. They sense the authority returning to you. And they panic. That panic reveals them. You may notice them contradicting themselves. You may catch them sharing information that was meant to stay private. You may hear about conversations they had that exposed their true intentions. You may witness them aligning with others who oppose your growth. Do not be surprised. This is the unraveling. And here is the part many do not understand. When the enemy realizes they've been exposed, they accelerate. They rush. They make mistakes. They overstep. They speak too much. They act too soon. What once was calculated becomes careless. Why? Because darkness cannot remain calm when light enters the room. Beloved, God is not asking you to defend yourself. Heaven is not asking you to explain. The exposure will speak for itself. Truth has weight. Integrity has presence. Silence, when guided by God, becomes a shield. This is where many fail, so hear me carefully. Do not confront emotionally. Do not seek closure from someone who thrived on confusion. Do not demand accountability from someone whose heart is already being judged by truth. God is separating you without chaos. The exposure may look like this. They distance themselves suddenly. They remove access quietly. They disengage when they realize they can no longer manipulate. They exit claiming misunderstanding, busyness, or peace. Let them go. That exit is not loss. That exit is deliverance. You are being protected from future harm that you cannot yet see. God is removing someone who would have sabotaged the next phase of your life. And heaven is doing it cleanly, without drama, without accusation, without guilt. Now hear this promise: what leaves during exposure cannot return disguised. Once revealed, alignment cannot be faked again. You may feel a mix of emotions: relief, sadness, clarity, even grief. This is normal. You are not mourning the person, you are mourning the illusion. And that grief passes quickly when peace arrives. And peace will arrive. You will feel lighter. Your prayers will feel clearer. Your decisions will feel stronger. Your confidence will return without effort. Because your spirit was never weak. It was simply burdened by unseen opposition. Now I ask you to listen deeply to this next truth. Exposure is not the end of the story. It is the doorway to elevation. After separation comes acceleration. After clarity comes confidence. After protection comes promotion. God does not expose without replacing. What is removed makes room for alignment. What is revealed makes space for support. What is lost makes way for divine covering. Something is being prepared for you: new connections, divine alliances, relationships that celebrate your obedience instead of questioning it. But they cannot arrive while deception occupies space. This is why the exposure is urgent. This is why the signs are increasing. This is why you were guided to hear this message now. Do not ignore the sign. Do not second-guess your discernment. Do not delay obedience. Heaven is moving swiftly. And in the next message, I will reveal what happens immediately after the enemy is fully exposed, the blessing that follows, the protection God places around you, and how to step into your next season without fear, regret, or hesitation. Stay connected. Stay aligned. Like, subscribe, not out of habit, but so the message finds you at the exact moment clarity turns into breakthrough. Something powerful is about to unfold. And the next revelation will show you why this exposure is actually proof that you are chosen. Beloved, remain steady now, because what happens after the exposure is just as important as the exposure itself. I, Archangel Michael, speak to prepare you for the shift that follows truth. When the hidden enemy is revealed, whether through silence, separation, or unmistakable clarity, heaven moves swiftly to seal what was uncovered and secure what belongs to you. Do not be surprised if, immediately after the exposure, there is a quiet pause. A strange stillness. A moment where nothing dramatic happens on the surface. This is not delay. This is divine containment. God is closing doors gently so no residue of deception can follow you into the next season. The pause is protection. Here is what you will notice first. Your inner world will calm. Your thoughts will organize themselves. Your prayers will feel focused instead of foggy. Your decisions will stop feeling heavy. This is the sign that interference has been removed. The enemy's power was never loud, it was subtle. It thrived in distraction, emotional drain, and quiet doubt. Once exposed, its influence collapses. And when influence collapses, authority returns to you. Now hear this carefully, for it will save you confusion. The exposed enemy may try one last time to re-enter. Not aggressively. Not openly. But gently. Nostalgically. Familiarity is their final strategy. They may reach out with kindness, apology, or concern. They may attempt to minimize what happened. They may act as if nothing changed. This is your moment of discernment. You do not need to argue. You do not need to explain. You do not need to justify distance. Your peace is the boundary. Your clarity is the answer. If God removed access, do not reopen the door out of politeness. Politeness is not obedience. Compassion does not require proximity. You can wish someone well without allowing them close. Beloved, the reason this is so important is because what follows exposure is elevation. And elevation attracts new eyes, new opportunities, new responsibilities. You cannot carry unresolved opposition into higher territory. After the separation, expect acceleration. You may notice doors opening faster than before. You may feel boldness where hesitation once lived. You may speak with authority without rehearsing. You may be trusted with more, spiritually, emotionally, even materially. This is not coincidence. This is confirmation. Heaven rewards discernment. Now I reveal something sacred. Your obedience during exposure determines the strength of your covering afterward. If you respond with humility, patience, and restraint, God fortifies you with peace that cannot be shaken. If you respond with revenge or accusation, the process slows. Choose wisdom. Choose quiet strength. Choose alignment. Let the truth stand on its own feet. The enemy's exposure also releases a blessing that was delayed, not denied, but delayed. A connection you were waiting for. A breakthrough that felt stuck. A sense of clarity that eluded you. When opposition leaves, flow returns. This is why, suddenly, things will make sense. You will look back and say, "Now I understand why that didn't work." You will realize how often your energy was drained. You will see how much you were compensating. You will recognize how God protected you even before you knew you needed it. Gratitude will replace confusion. And hear this promise: God does not expose to leave you uncovered. As one presence exits, another enters, supportive, aligned, life-giving. You will meet people who celebrate your obedience, not question it. Who protect your name in rooms you are not in. Who add strength instead of extracting it. This is divine replacement. But I must warn you of one thing: do not rush to explain the exposure to others. Not everyone needs the details. Not everyone will understand. Some will misinterpret silence as weakness. Let them. Your life will testify louder than your explanations. Truth does not need a microphone. Now, as we approach the next revelation, I ask you to examine your heart gently. Ask yourself, am I willing to let go completely? Am I willing to trust God's separation? Am I willing to walk forward without dragging the past? Your honest answers unlock your next level. Because the final message will reveal what God is about to build in the space that was cleared, the protection placed around you, the authority restored to you, and the unmistakable sign that confirms you are walking in divine favor now. Stay with me. Stay alert. Stay aligned. If this message speaks to you, remain connected, like, subscribe, not out of routine, but so the final revelation meets you at the moment heaven intends. The exposure was necessary. The separation was intentional. And what comes next will prove it all. Beloved child of God, now we arrive at the moment heaven has been preparing you for. The exposure is complete. The separation is sealed. And the space that once held deception is now holy ground. I, Archangel Michael, speak this final revelation not as a warning, but as a confirmation. You were never under attack because you were weak. You were targeted because you were chosen. The enemy that hid near you did so because your life carries weight. Your prayers move things. Your obedience disrupts darkness. And your future threatens systems that benefit from your silence. But hear this clearly, what was sent to monitor you has now been dismissed. God has taken back authority on your behalf. You may notice it now, a shift so subtle yet undeniable. You wake up lighter. You breathe deeper. You no longer replay conversations in your mind. You no longer feel the urge to explain yourself. This is not emotional numbness. This is spiritual peace. The covering around you has changed. Where there was vulnerability, there is now protection. Where there was confusion, there is now clarity. Where there was quiet resistance, there is now divine backing. And listen closely, because this is sacred truth. When God exposes an enemy, He also promotes the one who endured in silence. You did not need to prove anything. You did not need to expose them yourself. You did not need to fight back. Heaven fought for you. What God is building now in the cleared space will feel different. It will feel stable. Supportive. Life-giving. You will not need to guess where you stand. You will not need to question motives. You will not need to dim yourself to be accepted. Alignment will feel natural. New connections will arrive without effort. New opportunities will open without manipulation. New favor will flow without exhaustion. And here is the sign that confirms you are fully protected now. The same things that once drained you will no longer reach you. Words won't stick. Opinions won't shake you. Jealousy won't penetrate. Delay won't discourage you. Your spirit has matured. Your discernment has sharpened. Your authority has been restored. Beloved, this season requires one final posture from you, gratitude without attachment. Thank God for the lesson, but do not revisit the environment. Appreciate the clarity, but do not reopen the door. Honor the process, but do not romanticize the past. You are not going backward. You are being launched forward. There will be moments when you look back and think, how did I not see it sooner? Release that thought. Discernment develops through experience. You see now because you are ready now. Condemnation is not from God. Wisdom is. And now, hear this promise that seals the message. No enemy that was exposed can ever access you the same way again. They may watch from a distance. They may speak quietly. They may remember what they lost. But access has been revoked. Your name is being spoken differently in rooms you have never entered. God is repositioning you where loyalty replaces jealousy, where truth replaces tension, where peace replaces performance. This is not luck. This is alignment. So walk forward with your head lifted. Speak with confidence, not defensiveness. Move with wisdom, not fear. And when doubt tries to whisper, remember this moment. Remember this message. Remember that heaven warned you not to ignore the sign, and you listened. Before I depart, receive this final blessing. May your discernment remain sharp without becoming hard. May your heart stay open without becoming naive. May your path stay clear without becoming lonely. And may everything hidden against you remain exposed and powerless. Beloved, your season has shifted. Your protection has increased. Your destiny is advancing. If this message found you at the right moment, if it spoke to your spirit, remain connected. Like, subscribe, stay aligned, not for habit, but for divine timing. The next message that reaches you will meet you in your elevation, not your confusion. Go in peace. Stand in truth. And never ignore the sign again. Amen.